Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to an Idiot's Guide to Warframe. Today I'm going to be going over Cetus and Plains of Eidolon for new and returning players. I'm going to talk about the different vendors in Cetus, and then talk a little bit about the bounties and gameplay on the plains. Alright, so let's start by looking at the star chart. The Plains of Eidolon is a zone on the planet Earth, and you access it initially through Cetus. It is currently the only open world environment in Warframe. So if you have not gone to Cetus, then this will be a black node, similar to Oro or Tikal on my map, where I can't click on them. You can see it's white because I've unlocked it, but in order to access it for the first time, you need to click on Cetus. Cetus is a node similar to Relays, where there are NPC vendors that you can buy things from by trading in standing in the Ostron reputation. So I want to quickly go over where they're located and what services they offer. If you walk up the front steps from the start, it's the fish vendor. Here you can purchase different fishing blueprints, as well as spears used for fishing. And lastly, decorations for your orbiter. You can also buy certain fish parts for platinum, although I wouldn't recommend this. This is a huge waste of platinum. And once you catch your fish, you can select them in this, and then either trade them for rep, or harvest their materials by using cut bait. And that'll give you different fish parts depending on what kind of fish you caught. Next up is the mining vendor. He sells all sorts of mining blueprints, as well as the tools you use to mine that are called cutters. And as you gain and unlock new rep, you'll be able to buy the more advanced versions. He also has gems for sale for platinum, but again, I'd recommend not doing this as it's a waste of platinum. And then you can also trade your gems to him for Ostron rep. Next up is the masks vendor. Currently for me, he's not selling any masks, but he does have the affinity range boosters, which are the only non-cosmetic item he sells. I wouldn't recommend buying anything from him early, as most of his things are largely useless or cosmetic in nature. Next up is the Zaw dealer Hawk. This is where you make all of the Zaw weapons, which are the modular weapons unique to Cetus. Each Zaw is made up of 3 different components: the strike, the grip, and the link. You can see in his wares that he has all the blueprints for these parts. So if you gain the standing, you can then trade it in for the Zaw parts and then make your own Zaw, as well as the Exodias, which are the arcanes for the Zaws. Each Zaw can have 1 arcane Exodia in it. Again, he has specials where he makes a Zaw, and you can buy it for platinum. I wouldn't really recommend this. You can just make your own, and 130 platinum is pretty expensive. The other things you can do is you can guild. So this is when you have ranked your Zaw to level 30, and it basically just makes you rank it up again, and you can give it a name. After you guild it, it also has increased stats depending on what your Zaw is. You could donate a Zaw. Whenever your Zaw has been leveled to max or it's gilded, you can then trade it in for Ostron standing. This is probably a waste. I wouldn't really recommend doing this. And then you can also name any melee weapon. So if you have a non-Zaw weapon that you want to name or rename one of your Zaws, you can use this to entitle a weapon. And last but not least in this circle is the Beastmaster. He sells gene kits to alter your pet's appearance, and also occasionally sells different animal decorations for your orbiter. Now the NPC that you're going to interact the most with in Cetus is Kanzu. He is where you can accept all the bounties and manage your Ostron reputation. So if you go to Ostron standing, it shows you what you need for the next rank up. You can also sign up for bounties here that have different rewards, including Ostron standing, as well as a variety of other rewards. It's important to know that early on, they're not very useful for new players, other than the fact that they give Gar parts if that's what you're interested in. And even then, you'll need to be able to complete a level 20 to 40 bounty, which can be really hard on new players, and I would not recommend farming her initially. They also give some more advanced rewards that I wouldn't recommend new players going after until they've gained more knowledge about the game. So once you have signed up for a bounty, you can then walk to these doors and they will open. And this is essentially just a loading zone from Cetus into the planes themselves. So this is the Plains of Eidolon. It's the biggest map in the game currently. It has resources unique to it. In the water you can fish. There are also spots on rocks where you're able to mine materials. The red are more common materials and the blue are the rare materials. The resources you gain from mining are used in many of the crafting recipes that are unique to the Plains of Eidolon. Bounties themselves constitute the majority of the gameplay in the plains and range from 3 to 5 stages depending on the difficulty level. Each stage will have its own reward. The more common rewards are awarded in the first couple stages, and the more rare rewards are reserved until the last. Each stage will be different and unique to the bounty, and once you finish all the stages, you have to return to Cetus in order to get your reward. The last little thing I want to mention about the plains is that it is on a day-night cycle. The day lasts for 100 minutes and the night for 50. This is important because certain resources are only available at night, as well as the Eidolon hunts, which are largely for later game players. And if you couldn't tell, I highly recommend skipping most of this content and just simply unlocking the node and moving on, considering much of the gameplay is centered around endgame players. But that's going to do it for this short introduction into Plains of Eidolon and Cetus. I hope that this was informative if you're a new returning player. If there's anything I missed or you have additional questions, feel free to leave a comment. And if you found this video helpful, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe for future content.